We have probably my favorite series of the year so far.
This is
starting
be
like already. This is going to be awesome. The Padres at the Braves. It's the Braves home opener, so the Battery will be absolutely rocking. The stadium will be rocking. Braves at Padres, and it's a 4-game series, so it starts tonight. So what we're gonna do, Alex, is a little bit of tail of the tape, right? We're gonna go. What are we gonna go through? Offense,
defense, manager, starters, bullpen, and we're each gonna pick who we think has the better of
edge
the two.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, this is going to be good because these two teams are two juggernauts in the National League. So let's. Where are we starting?
We're starting with the offense. Who you got?
Do we both have a pick here?
We do.
Okay, I'll start offense. This is actually, I think, this is close.
It is,
and I think we're going to go in the same direction here. I don't know, but it's closer than I think people assume. I'm going with the Padres. Bogarts, Soto, Machado. It's very difficult to beat that. Offensively, I'm going with the Padres, but the Braves are very close. And what Acuna's doing this year, Matt Olson's off to a great start, but I gave the Padres the edge here offensively.
Yeah, you're right.
I
am also going with the Padres. I mean, they're already calling it San Diego. Did you hear? Have you heard the broadcast for Xander Bogaerts, who just feels like he just belongs there in San Diego. He's off to a great start, batting .409 with 3 home runs, 7 RBI, and they're calling it San Diego, which not mad about. And once like Machado, Soto, and Tatis gets back, you can't bet against this lineup.
Yep, I agree. We're in agreement there. Okay, offense. I wonder if we're gonna be.
I'm kind of nervous.
Do you know what my picks are? I have no idea.
I didn't look.
Okay.
But
all right. Okay. All right. What's up
I
next?
have a feeling. Okay, defense. Who you got?
Defensively, I went with the Braves.
Okay.
Michael Harris in center field. We saw him, I believe it was yesterday, making an awesome catch. Ronald Acuna is healthy, so on both sides of the ball, we're seeing him back to himself. Sean Murphy behind the plate, one of the better defensive catchers in the game of baseball. Matt Olson at first base, Gold Glove guy there. I mean, just everywhere you look. Austin Riley, who doesn't get enough credit for his defense over there at third base, has really, really improved thanks to Ron Washington, who Austin Riley was on the show, like two weeks ago or so, talked all about Ron Washington and how much he's helped him with his defense. So if you haven't checked out that episode, go listen to Austin Riley because he was awesome. But he's much improved defensively. I gave the edge here to the Braves. And I don't know if you might have chose the Padres, so I don't want to talk too poorly about them, but Juan Soto's not great in the outfield. Xander Bogaerts isn't great at shortstop. So as good as they are offensively, they're definitely not elite defensively.
Yeah. Their numbers are almost identical to start the beginning of the season.
Padres?
No, I went with the Braves.
Okay.
I went with the Braves, and this is my reasoning, okay? Because both of them, both the Padres and the Braves, fielding percentage right now is .991, tied for 8th best in Major League Baseball. Both of them. They both have 2 errors committed. They both have 7 double plays turned, tied for 4th most in Major League Baseball. But the Braves have just one of 8 Major League teams to not have a fielding error on the season. So both of their errors were on throws, plus just seeing that Michael Harris catch that you mentioned in the outfield yesterday was just insane. And overall, we know player by player, it is a stronger defensive core. Like the numbers I just mentioned, almost identical. But when you step back and maybe you're not looking at all the analytics and numbers, just looking at the individual players, I do believe the Braves are a stronger defensive team.
Okay, so we're through offense and defense. We're both on Padres offense. We're both on Braves defense. And we have manager, starters, and bullpen left. So what's next? Are we going manager?
We're going
next?
managers
all right,
next.
So this was a very difficult decision because I like Bob Melvin a lot and I like Brian Snitker a lot. And Snitker, World Series a couple of years ago. I gave the edge here to Bob Melvin and the Padres. And the reason I did that is not because, he might not have that World Series title, but look what he's done in his career with the Oakland A's and a payroll that is minuscule always when he was there, was on that tear with them. The reason I think the A's do it kind of the money ball way, but having a guy like Bob Melvin was huge. And then we saw him take a totally different job with a totally different organization that's doing it in a complete opposite way with the Padres. We saw him take over a team with a ton of talent, but a team that, if you remember, right before he came in, they just fell off a cliff down the stretch. And we saw Tatis and Machado yelling at each other in the dugout, and it just didn't feel right there in San Diego. And he takes over last year and immediately has to deal with Fernando Tatis getting in a motorcycle accident, Fernando Tatis getting suspended for the year, and then new guys coming in, and had to mesh a locker room that was almost impossible from the outside to mesh. And he did it. And they beat the Dodgers in the playoffs, and they kind of got over that hump of not being able to beat those Dodgers, and they end up making it to the NLCS. I gave the edge to the Padres and Bob Melvin here.
I think we're hanging out too much, because I also gave the edge to Bob Melvin because of what he did last season. When you come into a team that might be dysfunctional and you are able to control all the superstars that you're able to control and turn a franchise around to bring, again, hope. He brought hope to the Padres organization with what he did with this team last season, getting to the postseason, beating the Dodgers in the postseason, and then just dealing with this group of superstars that at one point were not getting along. Yeah. And now you're bringing them all together. I had to take Bob Melvin too.
I thought you were going to go Snitker, but I realized as you were talking, the literal only reason you picked Bob Melvin is because he was wearing a San Diego State jersey in the dugout the other day. No doubt about that. All right, what's next? Starters.
We're going to starters.
So we'll do starting rotation and then bullpen.
Yes.
Starting rotation, I went Atlanta Braves. This is a tricky one as well. Look, Padres with Yu Darvish and Blake Snell. Joe Musgrove isn't back yet, but a good starting rotation for sure. And I really like the addition of Nick Martinez into the rotation. And who am I missing? Seth Lugo. But the Braves rotation, right? Spencer Strider, my NL Cy Young choice. And we get to see it Thursday night. Probably the best matchup of the entire series. Spencer Strider against Blake Snell. We get that tonight. And for me, that matchup is kind of the difference in why I picked the Braves. Spencer Strider has been nothing but dominant since he's come up to the big leagues. That's why I believe in him as the NL Cy Young this year. Blake Snell, the inconsistency is what holds me back from picking them. If Blake Snell is Cy Young Blake Snell that we saw in Tampa, or second half and postseason Blake Snell from last year, it's a totally different rotation. But he is still showing those signs of inconsistency and walking a lot of guys. And then on top of that, the Braves, Dylan Dodd, the Dodd father. He's in the rotation. Great young talent there. You got Max Fried, who, yes, is hurt, so I can't technically count him for this series. But Charlie Morton, Soroka's on his way back. Bryce Elder. The Braves rotation is in a really good place for a long time to come. I gave them the edge. You like that, the Dodd father?
The Dodd father. I do. They already put my face up before I said anything.
Oh, we're on the same side. Oh, my God.
I have a feeling we might be on the same for everything here. Yeah. The Braves just are way more consistent. If you're gonna place a bet on both of these starting rotations, I feel a lot safer knowing the consistency that the Braves have had last season into this season. They just have a great pitching staff, which is why I went with the Braves.
All right.
I know.
Bullpen. It all leaves it up to the bullpen. So right now it's 2-2. So this is the tiebreaker for this series, the bullpen. So whoever Alex and I pick here, if we're on the same side, will win the series. You heard it here first. Bullpen. I went with the Atlanta Braves. Oh, well, I saw that look. Okay. I went with the Atlanta Braves. I think the Braves have one of the sneakier bullpens in the game of baseball. I say sneaky because, well, it doesn't have the big superstar names, right? It did. Kirby Yates used to be that big name and a shutdown closer, but then he got hurt after that dominant year, and then we haven't heard much about him since. Well, now he's back, and is he going to be Kirby Yates? We don't know, but his potential is there. AJ Minter back into the bullpen. Raisel Iglesias, who is finally is back. Nick Anderson, Colin McHugh, Dylan Lee, who I love. Nick Anderson, a very underrated name, I believe. I think this bullpen is full of really good, very underrated pitchers. And if you remember, not Raisel Iglesias isn't back yet, but he will be. But I can't count him yet. But if you remember what Raisel Iglesias meant to this Braves team coming over last year from the Angels, it was like, what are the Angels doing? Just giving this guy up. He had like 2 bad outings in a row, and then they're like, okay, out. And then he was probably one of, if not the best reliever in the game of baseball when he went over to the Braves while pitching the 8th inning. So I love the Braves. I would say the Padres have the best reliever, but the Braves have in total the best bullpen.
Yeah. We literally went the exact same, and I purposely didn't look at your picks and made my picks. I think I said it when I was talking about the starters. I think the Braves in general just have the stronger overall pitching staff, and that's top to bottom, starting, middle relief, closer once Iglesias comes back. I mean, even just now in their 22-plus innings that they've pitched, 1.99 ERA. Like they're a strong bullpen, strong relief. The Braves are a great young team, but with good little veteran pieces here and there. It's beautiful.
I love the Braves.
Yeah,
that's why
this is gonna be a great matchup.
If you remember, I have the Braves in the World Series. They were my NL pick, and I'm not going to spoil it. It's also Thursday, so my decision isn't final yet. But if the week were to end right now, the Astros would not be in that number 1 spot anymore in my power rankings.
Oof.
And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
Okay, tail of the tape. Everybody should be watching that series. It's the best series in the game this week. Thanks for watching. If you love Flippin Bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.